Hi.
Hello.
We are going to do this in English because
I don't speak Polish. All right, so we're going to be talking about the Stonemaier game.
yes,
And we have quite a few Stonemaier games. We've played almost all of them.
I think all of them. Yeah.
But this is one not a lot of people have or have played. It's an older one.
Is there a reason for it?
Is there a reason why no one's talking about this? Well,
we've played this game first at the Expo.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah. And didn't really like it.
It didn't grab us straight away.
Very politically correct answer. And I've emailed Stonemaier Games if they would like to send us some games to review. So they have this whole policy about reviewing games, blah, blah, blah. That's changed recently. So anyway, yeah, I'd love to review a game, but we've had or played all of them. It wasn't an easy choice. So it was between this and Between Two Cities and My Little Scythe.
Yeah.
My Little Scythe is a children's game, so it's not really for us.
We played it before.
We've played it a couple of times before. It's not, yeah. It was a great children's game. It is.
But for just us playing against each other, one-on-one?
Any sense, no. Then we've had, the Between Two Cities, we've got Between Two Castles. Sort of.
And also just playing the two of us most of the time.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. So that was the only one left.
Well,
and here it is.
I remembered playing this game. I was like, well, the game wasn't that bad, and it had some interesting things. So if we get it and we give it a chance and get into it, and also there was a new expansion. So the Euphoria expansion, Ignorance is Bliss, came out last year. So considering Euphoria came out in 2013, there's a 6-year gap to release an expansion.
Yeah.
So maybe the expansion makes it more interesting and more enjoyable. So, yeah.
Yeah, so here it is.
So that
came as a bundle. The game, the expansion, and the board.
Yes.
Because there's a different board?
Well, because the expansion comes with some stickers that you pop on the old board to update the old board with some balance changes, as well as some things to do with the new expansion. However, you can buy the board separately that has all the stuff that's on the stickers already printed on the board, so you don't have stickers on the board.
So the mechanics, the whole premise.
Yeah, what is the premise?
I like the theme. Like, the theme is quite cool.
Yes.
Build a better dystopia.
So this is set in the future, like a post-apocalyptic kind of future, but there's these big cities. Well, there's a city of Euphoria, which is like it's like the opposite of a dystopia. It's like a really high-tech, wealthy city, futuristic city. And then you've got the Wasteland, which is kind of like Mad Max out in the barren wasteland. Nothing is really growing apart from orange trees, apparently. And then underground, you've got this other faction that is under the ground, and they're developing water and water processing plants and stuff like that, and mining under the ground and developing their own technology down there. And then there's a fourth faction, the Icarus faction, who have taken to the air, and they all live in air balloons up in the sky.
Does it make any? Does it give any to the game? I don't think it does. I have not felt the atmosphere in this game.
Well,
there's
a couple of things that are thematic. So each of these three factions, anyway, the Wasteland, the Euphoria, and the Underground faction, are all trying to dig tunnels to get to the other person's faction to give them access to their resources. So over the game, you're going to be digging through a tunnel, and as you dig through, you get raw materials. So the Wasteland tunnel, they dig through and they get clay and artifacts that they dig up. And when they get to the end, they break into Euphoria, and then they get access to Euphoria's electricity, which is another resource.
Right. Okay.
So that's and they all do a similar thing for each one. So that has some thematic ties. So what are you actually doing in this game? What's the What's the main mechanic?
You place dice.
It's worker placement.
You get 2 dice to start. You've got 2 dice waiting for you, and you get 2 dice. You roll them. This is your workers. They've got a number, which is their intelligence, sort of, maybe.
Yeah, it's how much knowledge they have. So
these are pretty stupid. They're all the 1 and the 2. They're quite stupid.
Yes.
So they're fine. They won't get a lot of things, but I'm safe because every time I roll, I have to see if I'm below 16 intelligence, IQ, whatever that is. And if I've got more than 16, I have to lose a worker. So my people know too much about what's going on.
Yeah. So you don't want your workers to know too much. They don't want to know that it's all a kind of dystopian lie. But you want them to be productive, but not too smart, not too well informed. So there are things that will increase your workers' knowledge here, which will add to whatever you've rolled. And there will be things to decrease their knowledge to help you stay under that 16. Generally, you're not going to hit that 16 unless you have like 3 or more dice.
Yeah.
Because you can get more workers from this work activation tank down here. But the more workers you get, the more likely they are to find out the truth. And then you just lose a worker.
It sounds already thematic, like, oh, they know what's going on, it's the truth. It's not. You put the dice, you do what it says, then you retrieve your dice, then you put the dice.
Well, the numbers also have another thing. So the different places you can go, depending what the total number of all the dice in that space added up are, depends what you get. So for example, this generator, if it adds up between 1 and 4, you get 1 electricity and you advance the Euphoria track here.
Oh yeah, the allegiance tracks.
We'll get into that in a bit. Then 5 to 8, you get electricity and you lose some knowledge. And then 9 or more, you get 2 electricity, but you gain knowledge. And gaining knowledge is bad because you might lose workers. You're more likely to lose workers. So the game is not a victory point game. It's not
it's a race.
You're basically racing to get all your stars out. So you've got 10 stars and you've got to get them onto all these places on the board. So by doing things for different factions, you can get stars, which is kind of like your influence with that faction. Also building things. So the raw materials you get, the clay and the gold and the steel, you use those to build places on the board, and those places give you new worker placement spots that usually give you access to another way of getting a star as well when you build them. So
how do you win? You win by placing
10
stars.
It's a race, and depending on if we're playing 2 or 6 players, there'll be more or less of these spots on the board that need to be filled up with stars. We found with two players, you only have 2 empty spots on each of these faction stars, and that's pretty restrictive. It means you have to do a little bit for every faction really to get rid of all your stars. Whereas I think in more players, because you have more space each thing, you can probably focus more on 1 or 2 factions, and then your opponents would focus on more on other factions. But as it stands, you're kind of all racing to put a star down in each one, whilst your opponent's putting stars down each one. And it's in 2-player, it's pretty tight. You're just putting down a star, and by the time you've got enough to put down a star, generally they've got enough stuff to put a star down. And it just kind of goes like that until someone's got all of them.
Yeah.
That's kind of the basics, how it works. The only other quirky thing we've got here are artifacts, which is one of the ways you get stars. So as you'll be digging through, you'll be getting artifacts like glasses and teddy bears, and there's even a viticulture board game that you can find, another Stonemaier game. And once you've got 3 artifacts, generally you can go and get a star or 2 of the same artifact.
I keep forgetting about this, that there's 2 of the same artifact.
Yes.
Because as in here it says, yes, 2 of the same, on a little key thing, 2 of the same is the same as 3 of any, but it doesn't say it anywhere else. So you have to remember, because otherwise you just see the symbol and you just pay 3 cards and you keep forgetting that, oh, I could have paid 2 if I had the same ones.
Yeah, it would have helped if the iconography also showed 2 of the same, but maybe that would have been a bit too busy. So yeah, there is that. The other thing is that there are recruit cards. Now this is the only bit of hidden information in the whole game. Everything else is completely open. There's no hidden cards in people's hands. So the recruits you get are aligned to these 4 different factions. And you start the game with 1 face up, you have a known allegiance to, and 1 face down, which is an unknown allegiance. And these recruits have their own abilities, do stuff, but they also allow you to get extra stuff if you go up the track that's aligned to them. So if you have the Euphoria recruit, once a Euphoria track gets to here, gets to this energy generator space, now you get an extra electricity whenever you go to the generator. But only people that have a Euphoria faction card will get that bonus. And so there's bonuses that go all the way along for each one, and as it goes along, it unlocks more and more bonuses for that. So generally, you're trying to advance the factions that you have. So it's not too hard to tell what everyone's secret faction is going to be because they're advancing the track of that secret faction. And when you get to a certain point in your tunnel, you reveal, aha, I've got a secret Wasteland faction. And now you have access to all the Wasteland abilities that have been unlocked so far. That's the only bit of hidden information in the whole game. There is a way to get another recruit, but that's at the expense of getting a potential extra star. But apart from that, that's it.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything else. So in that way, the game can be quite strategic because there's not much hidden information. So you can kind of see what's my opponent doing, what do I need to do, what's my next thing I'm going to be working on to get my stars out. Well, I see they're collecting stuff for that and they've got way more than me. So maybe I should not bother collecting that because they're definitely going to get that. Maybe I should focus my attention elsewhere to do something else to get my stars out another way. So that's good if you like that kind of stuff. However, we generally found it not to be that interesting.
No, I was really bored. I can see right now I'm not even talking because I just...
You were not impressed with this game.
No, it makes me really sad because the components are brilliant. I love the components.
Yes, so the latest edition, I think this is the Mensa edition, third printing. Yeah. Comes with all these brilliant trays that all have lids on, which is great. So they don't, if you put the box up sideways, they don't all fall out. It's got a whole.
I mean, the oranges.
It's got nice wooden bits. Components, big chunky.
The dice are really nice. I like the custom dice.
Yeah, they're all engraved. They're not like a sticker on the dice.
Purple.
Yeah, your favourite colour.
And yet. And
I like the design of the dice, like they're cogs, like your cogs in the machine. That's what the dice are like. So the vision and the artwork on the board, what's going on the board it relates to what the different spaces are. It's beautiful artwork on the board.
I mean, the board is for me a bit too busy. I like the artwork, but everything else on it, there's so much of it.
Yeah, there's
otherwise you put those things on the stars that you're blocking those spaces and all. I just don't know. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, so when you're playing with anything less than 6 players, you've got to put these kind of quite ugly blocker markers on the stars to block off the things because you're playing with less than the full 6 player game, and they don't look that nice, and they kind of make the board look less good.
I like the artwork on the cards, even though it's very simple. Like I really like it.
Yeah, just the style that the artist has used is pretty cool.
And that's about that, really. That's what I like about it. Like, I found it so boring. Just so boring. It is predictable as well. Like, I know that I can't win and it just makes me not want to play it. I'm one of those kind of people that, if I know I can't win.
This is the downside with there being no hidden information, is it?
Yeah.
You know a lot more about what's going on. You know, oh, okay, well, they've got this, they're doing this, I'm not going to be able to do this, so I've got to try and do something else. So does the expansion that was released last year make it more interesting?
Well, it adds a market for the cards, which is better because you can see what cards you can get.
Because that was one of the only like really random things. The first one is when you get an artifact, you get cards from the deck and you don't know what it's going to be if you're looking for a certain one. The market means you can basically see what the top 4 cards of the deck would be. And the first one is free, but if you want to get any of the future ones ahead, if you want to get a specific one, you have to pay resources. So that's not too bad.
I mean, I don't know why, but playing with the expansion, I didn't struggle for resources as much as I struggled playing without it. I don't know if that made any difference. I don't know. Just played with a different faction. All I didn't like in the expansion is that one faction card I got. That basically I was digging for all those tunnels and unlocking the things, and there were like 3 bonuses going on the things on the board. And I had a faction, the factionless faction.
So the new recruit cards, they're factionless recruits, and you didn't really have a good time with that. They're more powerful. That's why you got a load of resources, wasn't it? Because
but they've taken away the power from the other ones.
Yeah.
So if I have a recruit for 2 different factions here, and I dig the tunnels to get the bonuses, and then you happen to build one as well, and I'm like, great, I get bonuses, and then the other one says, well, no, you don't get any other bonuses because you get 1 resource per turn. Wow, no, I did not like it.
Yeah, it also adds a whole load of new building cards you replace with the ones from the original. I'm not entirely sure what's different about them. Maybe that they're just a bit more variety on them.
Probably.
But to be honest, the game, there's a lot of, you're putting down stuff to get resources, then you put down a thing somewhere else to pay those resources to get a thing, but then you go to pay that thing to get that, and it just didn't feel like there was many interesting. You couldn't really build an engine or anything like that.
No.
It was purely you just getting resources to spend to get other resources to spend to get cards to spend to get stars on board. And that's pretty much it. There's not much replayability. I mean, there are the different recruit cards are supposed to be where the replayability is. So the whole deck of them, massive deck of them.
I mean, it's very repetitive. You're gonna get the same sort of game every time you play. You're just gonna dig a different tunnel.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this game probably plays better with more people. I have a feeling like 2 players.
Yeah, keep in mind that we played 2-player games because of the whole pandemic situation. We didn't have any people over to play the games with. So yeah, this is a 2-player review, as the thing is called, 2-player only.
Yeah.
But
so it plays with 6 players.
I cannot imagine playing that with 6.
I think 6.
Seeing as most of our friends that play with us, they're intelligent people.
Yeah.
They think what they're doing, and it's gonna take ages.
And the thing is, when you've got open player information, someone can sit there and work out what their optimal move should be. And for some people, it takes them a while to figure through. Right, well, should I maybe go and get the oranges to do that, or maybe I should go there and do that? If you're doing this with 6 people, it might drag on a bit. I mean, turns don't take that long.
Yeah, no, the turns are quick because you put a dice and you take stuff. Yeah, but to know where to put the dice and know which bit your opponents are gonna put the dice, so maybe then you can join in to get some better stuff.
Yeah.
What does it even mean that it's Mensa Select? What does this mean? Does it mean that?
So I think there are Mensa awards for games that kind of promote kind of smart thinking, like things like strategy style games. Generally, it's like abstract strategy games, but this game won the award, and probably because it's open player information, and you're just if you're really thinking, you can work out the optimal strategy to win based on what your opponents are doing to try and get the stars out before they do. Maybe that's why, but
I just figured maybe I don't like racing games because this is a race.
It's it can be more stressful, a racing game, and it's more obvious who's winning in a racing game.
And that's it. Like the moment I see someone's winning and I have no way of catching up, then I'm done.
If I've managed to build a building, get a star, and I built that building without you being able to do it, suddenly I'm a star ahead.
And I have some sort of disadvantage, because if you're not a part of a building team for the building, you get a disadvantage.
Yeah, everyone who didn't contribute to building a building has a disadvantage for the whole game until they put a star on that building through doing the building's action. So yeah, it can be quite obvious that you're not going to be able to win if someone's managed to get a star. If they got 2 stars ahead of you, then you're not going to catch up. 1 star possibly. I think you managed to catch up that last game we played.
I still lost, didn't I? I can't remember.
I think you.
It's just
see, it's not very memorable.
No, it's not. It just doesn't do it for me, which is sad, because this might be the prettiest game I dislike.
Yes, I love the presentation. Love these trays. Love all the big chunky wooden components. The cards are really good quality, proper linen finish cards. But for playing 2 players at least, it's not that interesting, and even at higher player counts, I don't think it's our kind of game.
We like thematic games, but we also like Euro games. This doesn't do it for any of these boxes. It's not thematic because it's not a merry game. It is a Euro.
Yeah.
But it's not great.
Well, at the end of the game, you're doing fairly similar things that you were doing at the start of the game. But you might have unlocked a tunnel where you get more resources, and that might change up what happens. But other than that, we kind of like these games where you build more of an engine. By the end of the game, you're doing vastly different things at the start of the game. Whereas this game,
you have some sort of plan what you want to do, and here you just want to get those stars out, and this is what you're gonna be doing every single time.
Yeah, so there's not as much replay value.
No, and it's sad, because first game we get from Stonemaier Games is a game that it's not great.
But we do love Stonemaier.
Exactly.
We love
literally we've got all the other games, and we will do a video. We will rank all the Stonemaier games we've got.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, this
one was not for us.
Not for us.
It might be for you though. So if you like the theme, if you like the look of the game, and you want to know how to play, there are plenty of how to play videos you can look up out there.
This is not
and to decide if this might be a game for you. But just for us, it's just not.
Doesn't do it.
It's not hitting the right buttons for us, unfortunately.
Nope.
So
sadness.
Great sadness. But we look forward to trying more Stonemaier games in the future. I mean, most of their games have been a hit, and we'll see you for our Stonemaier ranking list that we'll be doing.
And for Pendulum.
And for Pendulum. Yeah, that will be our next review.
Yeah.
So, great.
We'll see you then.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Cheers.